Don't give me that. It's the closest thing to a Mandalorian helmet I've got. Welcome back, I'm Captain Xavier, and for most of my life, at least since I first saw Empire Strikes Back as a wee child, I've been a huge fan of Boba Fett. And so when Nerf announced that they were going to be coming out with a Boba Fett blaster, well, I had to have it. So I went ahead and ordered it. It has arrived, and I'm gonna open it up, I'm gonna plink with it, and I'm gonna talk about it. So, it comes in this nifty limited edition box. Pretty snazzy. And there it is, in all of its glory. And I'm gonna talk about it, but first, I'm gonna take it to the range and plink, because I still got enough daylight, and I want to plink with it. So, here we go. Right, I'm here on the range. I'm not gonna wear the helmet. I am, however, wearing my awesome Boba Fett shirt that was given to me, I believe, by siblings for Christmas. I've got awesome siblings. Anyway, I'm here on the range, and we're going to plink with this thing. It's got an interesting loading system with sounds and everything, which I will go into when we get back to the shop. See if I can hit anything at all. No. Oh, almost. No good. Reload. Comes with 3 shells. Or, I guess there's really more cylinders. Anyway. Dat elite accuracy, though. One more. Oh no! We're not firing. What's going on? What happened? Not get lined up. There we go. I got a hit! Oh, no good. Another hit! Round's complete. Now I gotta go try to find brownish darts in the woods. Then we'll talk about it. I wanted to plink some more, and those brown darts were hard to find. So I went and I got some Adventure Force waffle darts. Should hopefully fly a little better. Hopefully. And they're easier to find. Here we go. I got a hit. Next. I don't know if that engaged. It did! Hit! Hit! Oh, close. 3 out of 4. Not bad, not bad. See if I can get 4 out of 4 on the last one. I doubt it. But we're gonna give it a try. Nope. 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 I got a hit. Right. Now we shall go talk about the thing. Right. Now that I've had my plinking, let's talk about this. First, I'm going to discuss the cosmetics, because to me, this is first and foremost a cosmetic blaster. The goal is that it's the Boba Fett blaster, and that's what you're really after. The fact that it also fired darts is kind of, in many ways, an afterthought. And that does kind of show in some of these kinds of blasters, and I will discuss that. But first, I want to discuss the cosmetics. Now, my first thought when I saw it was that it looked a little off. Obviously, the coloring, which that I don't have an issue with. I know they had to paint it not mostly black for legal and safety reasons and all of that. And I do actually like the paint job. They went with the Boba Fett green and the Boba Fett red, and then the yellow. He also has yellow in his outfit, so I like that. I understand why they did that, and I think they did a good job. It's fairly tasteful and not too gaudy, and I like it. I like that. But what about the rest of it? The actual shape, the scale, the greebles, and all of that, and even the noise. I think they did a better job than I originally assumed, because in my mind, having grown up with Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back, I was still picturing the blaster from those. And this is different than those in a number of ways. And then I looked into it, did a little bit of Googling, and realized that no, this is actually meant to be a reproduction of the one from the more recent TV shows, from The Mandalorian and from the Book of Boba Fett. And there are some significant differences between the two. And this one is very clearly meant to be that. The greebles on the stock actually, most of the greebling actually matches. The stock looks correct. The scale even looks a little bit better. It's a little bit, the one from Book of Boba Fett looks like it's a little bit bigger. And so I think that was definitely what they were going for, and for that I think they actually did a pretty good job. You wouldn't have to make too many changes to make it relatively screen accurate to that one. Now if you were looking for one from the older one, I don't know how difficult it would be to retrofit it. The barrel section looks like it, like I said, a little bit bigger, and some of the greebling I'm not sure about. The scope is definitely completely wrong. This is a much more modern scope than on either of the ones from The Empire Strikes Back or The Return of the Jedi. Those two are also different. And it doesn't make sense that it's different because it's, if I recall, his blaster gets destroyed in Return of the Jedi. Luke cuts it in half. So, yeah. Anyway, I think they did a decent job. I don't know about this noise. I don't recall that. Maybe it's a thing. Maybe it's not. I should probably watch Book of Boba Fett again before I say anything about that. But that does sound like his. So that's neat. It does like got light and sound, and that's cool. And then it also, the reticle lights up. You really can't see through it very well, and it doesn't magnify or anything, but it lights up, and lights are neat. So, yeah, cosmetically, I think they did a good job at representing the one from the Book of Boba Fett and from The Mandalorian, and I don't mind the paint. So that's pretty cool. Let's talk about functionality. Now, that's where these IP cosmetic blasters usually or will often have some significant downsides, is that they have to make the blaster look as screen accurate as possible while also firing darts or rival rounds or whatever, and that can be difficult. I imagine the designers and the engineers kind of pull their hair out of how do we make a blaster that's actually going to be fun to use and is actually going to be vaguely practical, but still looks like the thing from the video game or the movie or the TV show. And sometimes they do a pretty good job, and sometimes it's fairly easy, and sometimes nary so much. Something like the Cassian Andor blaster, well, it's built on an AR platform, and so they just made a Strife that looks vaguely like an AR with space greebles. And that's perfectly functional. You can easily upgrade that, modify that, paint that. You can use it for all kinds of things. That one's lovely. Some of the Overwatch ones, less so, especially like the McCree blaster, which we were all hoping it was going to be some kind of a revolver. And it turns out it's actually a really weird prime using the barrel that you pull and then cylinder comes out and it's single shot, and it's weird, it's wonky, but I don't know that there was any other way to make that blaster work and look like it's supposed to look. Especially not having it fire rival. Maybe if they'd gone with half darts, you could probably have made a more like an actual, 6 or 7 shot revolver or whatever out of that thing, given how big it is, if it had been a half dart blaster. But Hasbro doesn't do half darts, so they were limited by the need to make it look good first and then be functional. And the same, I think, is true here. So the whole shell cylinder system is neat. I don't know how I would have done it differently. Maybe I would have made it take more than 4 shells, but I like that they made it not a single shot blaster, because they could have. They could have just made it barrel load, rear prime, just like the DH-17, the Rebel blaster. But instead they decided to make it a 4-shot revolver, which makes it a little bit more practical to actually use. It's still not terribly practical for something this size to be a 4-shot revolver. I mean, you can get a lot more power and capacity out of something this size. But again, this isn't meant for performance. This isn't meant to be competitive in anything. But it's a neat mechanism, and I think it's actually kind of creative, and I like that they made the sounds. That is completely unnecessary, and I like it. I don't like that it's not really lefty friendly. It would be a lot easier if you were right-handed, obviously. Having that open up some of the time. Open up. Open! Come on. What's the boggle? Oh. Anyway. Yeah, it's not the most left-hand friendly blaster, but again, they were limited by the cosmetics. So Maybe they could have made it come from underneath. It would have been a little more ambidextrous. Maybe they tried. Maybe they couldn't figure it out. Maybe whatever. I don't know. Nobody thinks about us lefties. There are people in my life who didn't even know I was left-handed that I've known for like 7 years. You're like, see? Nobody cares about the lefties. But anyway, enough of that. I think it's pretty cool. I like it. I'm definitely going to be putting it on my wall underneath my bounty hunter plaque that my little sister gave me years ago for, I think, Christmas. Super cool. So I'm going to go get some pegs and I'm going to put it up there, and you can take a look. And there it is. I dig it. Thank you guys for watching.